Clara and Horner were lovers, conspiring together to frame Louisa for the murders. Clara, driven by jealousy and a desire for wealth, had helped Horner plant evidence and manipulate witnesses. Sydney, 1889. The air in Botany Bay was thick with anticipation, gossip swirling through the streets like smoke. At the heart of it all was Louisa Collins, a woman of striking beauty and indomitable spirit. Born into a modest family, Louisa had married young, hoping to escape the drudgery of her circumstances. Her first husband, Charles Andrews, provided her with stability but little excitement. After his sudden death, she found herself widowed, with children to care, and a heart yearning for more. Louisa remarried, this time to Michael Collins, a man of means and charm. She quickly became a fixture in Sydney's social circles, her striking looks and vivacious personality drawing attention wherever she went. Louisa was known to be flirtatious, often seen engaging in lively conversation with various men. This behavior, though not unusual for a woman of her social standing, raised eyebrows and fueled whispers among the more conservative townsfolk. Her charm was magnetic, and her smile could disarm even the most skeptical observer. Constable Charles Smith, a man known for his relentless pursuit of justice, couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss when Michael Collins, like Charles Andrews before him, so the two husbands, died suddenly. Both men had succumbed to violent stomach pains and relentless vomiting. Arsenic, a silent killer, was suspected but never confirmed. Smith's instincts told him there was more to the story. As he delved deeper into the lives of the Collins family, Smith uncovered a tangled web of secrets and lies. Michael Collins had been engaged in a bitter feud with a ruthless business rival, James Horner, so the second husband. Horner was known for his unscrupulous tactics and had both motive and opportunity to eliminate Michael. Smith's investigation led him to believe that Horner might be the key to unraveling the mystery. One stormy night, Smith broke into Horner's office, desperate to find evidence. He discovered letters and documents that hinted at a twisted conspiracy, but the details were murky. Then, in a hidden drawer, he found a stash of arsenic. It was a breakthrough, but Smith needed more to prove Horner's guilt. Meanwhile, Louisa's sister, Clara, seemed to be hiding something. Clara had always been a quieter, more reserved sibling, overshadowed by Louisa's vibrant personality. Smith noticed a tension in her that suggested that she knew more than she was letting on. He decided to follow her, hoping to uncover the truth. Late one night, Smith trailed Clara to a secluded meeting with Horner. Hidden in the shadows, he overheard the conversation that sent chills down his spine. Clara and Horner were lovers, conspiring together to frame Louisa for the murders. Clara, driven by jealousy and a desire for wealth, had helped Horner plant evidence and manipulate witnesses. Smith confronted Clara the next day, and she broke down, confessing to everything. She revealed how Horner had seduced her with promises of a better life and manipulated her into betraying her own sister. Clara's jealousy and desire for status had driven her to commit unimaginable acts. With Clara's confession in hand, Smith hurried to Attorney General William Daly. The case was reopened, and Horner and Clara were swiftly arrested. The public was stunned as the truth came to light, but the story was far from over. As the trial of Horner and Clara unfolded, Smith uncovered one final devastating twist. Charles Andrews had been suffering from chronic arsenic exposure long before Louisa could have administered it. The source? Rat poison, commonly used in their household. It was a tragic accident that Horner and Clara had exploited to further their own nefarious plans. Despite Smith's tireless efforts, the truth came too late to save Louisa. She had been executed, maintaining her innocence to the very end. Her death became a symbol of the dangers of prejudice and the fallibility of the justice system. In the aftermath, sweeping changes were made to ensure more rigorous and unbiased investigations. The tragic tale of Louisa Collins transformed from one of vilification to one of martyrdom. Her story was a haunting reminder of the importance of truth and justice in the face of deception and betrayal, a legacy that endured long after the whispers of Botany Bay had faded.
Whoa.
And as like a fun fact about this case, this is actually a true case that happened in Australia in the 19th century. And Louisa, so she was considered a whore because she was like flirting with everyone. But so her first husband died and she remarried, she remarried the second one, which I forgot his name, though, just a second.
So basically she was, easy to be framed.
Yes.
Just because of everything that happened. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so she remarried Michael, right? She married Michael Collins. And the thing is, Michael was renting a room in the house Louisa and her former husband were like, they were renting rooms, and Michael was one of the tenants. And they started like a relationship, and the ex-husband who died confronted them, and he was like, no, it's nothing now, whatever. He died pretty soon after that, and then she remarried Michael. She had a son or a daughter, a child, whatever, it's not specified, and the child died when it was 4, and after like maybe a month, Charles died as well. So everyone was like, did she poison everyone? Like the first husband, the child, and the second husband? And it was found that the doctor scooped some DNA and whatever from the second husband's, Michael's saliva and vomit, and the doctor found arsenic in there, but they couldn't find arsenic in the child's like remains, whatever. But they also find arsenic in the first husband, like remains. So everything pointed out to Louisa. Like she was frivolous, she was going and flirting with men, and because the first husband, after her first husband, she got some like life insurance money. So everyone thought, oh, that's why. But then the man that like concluded everything, the case, he was like, okay, but the second husband was not insured in any way. She didn't get any money from him. So yeah, and it's sad because they convicted her and they executed her, and after that they found out the truth about.
So was she actually killed?
Yeah, because she was sentenced to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But,
and she was one of the last women to be executed in Australia.
Well, good that they realized.
Yeah.
But then I don't understand, why would her sister commit such crimes? Because was she jealous?
Yes, basically she was jealous because she was overshadowed by Louisa, because she was the younger sister, and she didn't have the fame, the likeliness, and the men, I guess, weren't really attracted to her. And Horner was like profiting off of her insecurities, I guess. And she was like, yeah, I'm gonna turn against my sister. Maybe Louisa didn't give her much attention, so she was like, okay, she doesn't give a fuck about me, so...
Even the parents, because when you're like the older child, the parents tend to listen to the child more than the younger ones. The younger ones are just existing.
Well, also I think it's because the sisters weren't like rich, and from what I understood, they tried to leave home as soon as possible, so that's why Louisa married young, and maybe the only like parent figure Clara had was Louisa, and once she started like dating men and getting married and having children, it was like
Yeah, this clearly affected her.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There are lots of stories like this back in the days. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I love the fact that it's always like poison. And what's interesting, and if I'm not mistaken, in England, at some point it was like an epidemic, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Every woman in this country is poisoning their husbands and their children and their sisters and whatever. And also, they found out that I don't remember the substance. I don't think it was arsenic, but it was something else, and it was a toxic substance that was found in the paint of the walls, because it was a very like bright green whatever, and that was a chic color at the time in the 19th century. And the way they did it, so it was cheaper, they used like something to mix it up, and it was producing the substance, and everyone died of poisoning, but they didn't know at the beginning what's going on. Everyone was getting fevers and dying. It was like, what was going on? And then they found out it was in the paint from the walls, and also in the clothes paint, because they had some like dresses in the same color, and they used the same like liquids and dyes to dye the clothes and everything. So I don't know, people experimenting with substances is scary.
Yeah. So basically, their lack of knowledge led to their death.
Yeah.
I think when I was in high school, I had this teacher. He was telling me that people were dying because they were moving their wine, not like bottles. How do you call the barrels?
Okay.
Wine barrels in the sort of a bunker that we have here. And when you leave that there without proper ventilation, and you go and I don't know, you open the barrel, you can die out of suffocation because of too much carbon dioxide, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's a closed space,
Yeah,
and
if it's a
you
closed
basically
space.
fill up the space with that when you open the barrel. Okay.
Yeah, so people were dying because of that. Yeah. And also about poisoning, I found out recently that the reason Germans do this with their drinks, like to the point that the drinks get mixed, is so that the other person would know that they are not trying to poison him.
Oh, so it's like, if I see you don't mind my drink getting into
Yeah,
your drink,
yeah,
it's, oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. Back in the days, it was a sign that you're not gonna get killed by poison,
And they
basically.
still
Yeah.
did. Yeah. But it's interesting to. I think mixology is a really interesting like subject when it comes to drinks and everything, and how it evolved. Because I also read some stories where there's certain substances that are non-detectable at autopsies. I don't know exactly how it works, but they like the system, the human system, they digest that. It digests whatever substance it is, and you cannot find traces of it, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and also like these things even happen to this day. Poisoning, right? Not so often
Yeah.
because it's very quick to detect it, but it still
Well,
happens.
I think it's harder to get your hands on substances like that today than
Yeah,
it
without
was.
regulations. Yeah.
Yeah, than it was in the in the 19th century. But it's still possible, and as they said here, they didn't use arsenic, they used rat poison, which is like, you can buy rat poison because you can say that you have a rat invasion, and
Basically, yeah.
who's gonna tell you no, you're not having a rat invasion. I know my case, so I'm gonna buy it, but yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't want to give ideas, but then would that be possible to just like put the rat poison inside the husband's food?
Yeah.
So that can still be a thing to this day.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And in the drinks, as well because you dissolve the yeah.
So with a little bit of cry and scenes here and there, you can just wow, okay, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And with all the violence nowadays, especially because there is a lot of domestic violence, not only in our country, even in the other countries around Europe. So yeah, it's concerning, but
The good thing is nowadays we discuss more these topics, so it's not like the only way out is poisoning my husband because women doing that was not the sign of witchcraft or being the Lulu, whatever. It was basically their only way out for their husbands to die so they could be free. So nowadays it's like you have other options before poison to
yeah, but
manage your situation.
even so, to this day, police officers still don't get it like seriously. Like there are so many cases in which policemen would call, so the wife would go to the police, and then the police would call the husband saying that, why are you here? You're making such a big fuss. I'm sure your husband doesn't want to kill you. And fun fact, afterwards,
The husband
something
kills
happens.
the
Yes,
yeah
kills or
yeah
beats the wife until she's in the hospital.
because is this thing about proving that you are beaten or you are like harassed in any way because if it's a verbal harassment
Yeah, it
everyone is like everyone's
doesn't
like
count. Yeah.
they did it's a quarrel between spouses is nothing but it counts because every day going through that is detrimental to mental health and then it can get to like physical harassment which is worse and yeah that's really a problem because women are not I don't know I don't know what policemen are thinking it's like they're not trustworthy they just go it's like a hobby to go to the police station and report an abuse like let's report an abuse today it's a sunny day outside I have nothing better to do.
I don't know, but like maybe the reason why policemen, I don't want to accuse them of being lazy and not doing their job. It could be as well, but then maybe due to, I don't know, too many complaints and cases there, or even fake cases, right?
Yeah, but
They tend to be a bit more suspicious and not trust everyone anymore.
the thing is there's significantly more real cases than fake cases which like and it's like it's known they actually don't do their job every day at every hour there's many things involved and I saw something really interesting and it's actually true because there's not there are songs with fuck the police and everything but there's never a song with fuck the firefighters because they do their job so no one has anything with firefighters but yeah it's complicated and I mean we created this like this society ish lifestyle and everything
Yeah.
it's human made man made I dare to say because man created this
Mostly, yes, and also like the situation itself in which the wife has no independence, like she's just home taking care of the kids, maybe cooking. She has no money, of course, because the husband is the one providing. And how are you going to get a divorce, right? You cannot afford it, so the only way to solve or trying to solve the issue of violence is going to the police, and then the police lets you down, and then you see articles of, I don't know, wives getting killed by their husbands, and then they realize that it was actually true, and yeah,
it's sad
it's very sad, but it maybe 40% of the cases end up like that still to this day.
but the moral of the story is do not poison anyone like try to seek justice in any way shape or form and I think it's also more satisfying even if you struggle a bit at the beginning, when you start like degrading the person, in the
Yeah,
case
and
like you have an abusive husband, and let's say you struggle to get a divorce, you get the divorce, and then you start like quote unquote ruining his life in different ways, like whatever. I think it's more satisfying than just killing the husband. I don't know, that's just because you do it once and it's over, but you
well,
can like haunt him for the rest of his life, which
uh,
is more interesting.
yeah, but I don't think that's plausible. And also, this mostly happens to millennials or anything before that, right?
Yeah,
Because
because
to our
Gen
generation,
Z doesn't get like married
yeah,
ever.
we don't get married. We are mostly independent. The only problems we have is hating our jobs, wanting to quit, wanting to sleep all day and do nothing. So we don't even create the environment to be in such
Not
situations.
necessarily we don't do nothing. It's more about where we were.
And we're picky.
I would say it's more that we're given a broken platform to work with. So at a certain point when you start like working on it and you try to like fix it and someone comes back and kicks it, because that's what's going on, and every time you get to a certain point of involvement you downgrade, and it gets frustrating. That's why we seem like picky and lazy, but it's not about that. It's just we've given up. It's just
Yeah, we just don't want to handle the shit that the people before us did for
yeah.
so many years.
Yeah, and they still hold us tight. That's the thing, because if they will let everything to us and restructure everything, everything will be fine. But as you can see, wars, inflation, yeah, everything goes down south. But
And everywhere, like even on the other part of the planet in Korea, like women don't get married anymore. They are on full protests, demanding the government to do something about it because they are just not going to give birth.
and I don't think it's only the government's statement against men and saying that we're also humans and we have like a brain and we can use it as you do. So it's not just you abusing us and using us for like marriage, sex, and children. It's
That used to
just
work though before in the past. Nowadays, not so much.
yeah, because also it was something that was instated by men, and they used the religion and many things to control women, and basically mostly was religious, let's be honest, and back in the day. And they created also a man created whatever it is, I'm 100% sure, because women were not allowed to be educated and everything. So they used that and said, well, they're weaker in like physical appearance, so let's use that against them and we can control everything, which was proven to be detrimental for the whole globe, because we have global warming, we have wars, we have poor democracies and poor
Fake
political fake
democracies.
democracies, exactly, capitalism, which I think is the greatest disease of the 21st century. And yeah, so everything was created by men. I'm not there are men that are okay, a few of them, but yeah.
Basically, like there are some very respectable men in power, but like I don't know, 70% of them on this planet, they're all like very communist in a bad way. Because
Not
communism was good to
no
some countries.
no, it's not communism, it's totalitarianism, because communism as it's written, it like it makes sense, like everyone should have equal, I don't
Yes.
know, paychecks and equal, everyone should have a job, everyone should have a house, like that makes sense. And it's
Dictators, yeah.
yeah, it's nice to that point. But when you get to dictators and everything that happened in our country and in the country in Eastern Europe, that's not what communism was standing for, because it was a masked capitalism, because at the end of the day, the ones in power were rich, and if you are at the end of the chain, of the food chain, you are poor and you are dying on the street. So it's, yeah. But in theory, it
Yeah,
was good.
communism was good. Yeah, everything is good on paper, not in practice.
Yeah. Like if they would, if it would have worked as they written it to be, yeah, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. So we're left to,
Left to deal with everything, and unfortunately, it's not easy to reverse
yeah,
decades and even centuries of damage.
yeah.
But we are slowly recovering. Slowly.
In some aspects we're not, but it's it's part of the evolvement, I guess, and updates in our lives. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, and I hope that, even though I know for a fact that there are still errors in the judicial systems all around the world, and when like researching a case and everything, and when going to the court, I'm hoping in my heart that the police and the detectives and everyone involved in that would do their job at the best capacity to prove the innocent being innocent and the guilty being guilty. So we're not faced with that. Of course, we don't have many countries with death sentences nowadays, but even a life sentence is bad if you're not guilty. So, yeah.
So that was it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and we will see
See
ya.
ya.